Hare Krishna, invocation prayers, please.
Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-salakya Chakshur Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadama Mahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagarajitam Sagajana Prabhunathvidam Tamsa Jivam Satvaidam Savadutam Varijana Sachidam Sakidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Saga Gana Lalita Sri Visagam Cha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Devaneshwari Rishabhan Sudev Devi Pranam Ami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubiyacha Kripasindu Biyacha Patitana Pavane Viyo Vaishnava Viyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaurav Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Sri Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. So today we will cover Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 20. We'll cover the whole chapter today. Should be possible, should be straightforward. At least the chapter is not straightforward, but we should be able to cover the 53 verses. So before we begin, I have a question for you all. So when you all do the unit preparations and your presentations, how do you prepare for your unit presentations? Everybody?
May I start, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
First of all, I go through all the notes that I have jotted during class. In the class, with apt attention, I listen to every word of yours. And then I read the chapter once again. What is the homework?
Chapter?
Chapters.
No, which
And then
is it chapter or chapters?
all chapters. Supposing,
Okay.
the particular chapter, 1 to 53, let us say, all the 53 I read. And then I again correlate with the notes which I have taken with the class.
Okay, so meaning the chapter what that you are presenting.
Yes.
Okay, rest of you? Quickly.
Prabhuji, I read the chapter what is pertinent to that particular day.
Okay, meaning the chapter that you are presenting?
Yeah, that's what, I'm whatever is going to be present, that alone will read it. Yeah.
Okay, rest of you?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So what I do is I go through it's basically parts of the chapters which I'm supposed to be presenting. So I'll go through little bit before that and little bit after that to get the context. I read the text translations and purports, and I also read my notes and try to get points from both, and then I make my own notes.
Okay, the rest of you?
Prabhuji, even myself, I read the chapters, then make the points, then limit it to the time 5 minutes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Shivangi says she reads the notes. Okay, which notes for the presentation that you are doing?
It's the class notes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, but class notes for the presentation that you are doing?
Right, yes.
Okay, Dipanshu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, I read Srimad Bhagavatam, the points, the part which I have to present in Hindi and in English both, and then I make notes and then I present it.
Okay, so Srila Prabhu, the question is that when you do your presentations for the unit, how do you prepare? Sridhar Prabhu and Kalyani, if she is also there.
She's in there, Prabhu, today. So generally what I do is I listen to your recordings and also I read the Srimad Bhagavatam, both, and then I prepare the notes, Prabhu.
So meaning you read and prepare for what you are presenting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Mother Chandranti is left, I think.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I do the previous chapter and then what I am going to do. And then I take whatever the notes I take and compare and then take the.
You mean the previous chapter or the chapter that you present?
The previous note to get the contents.
Okay. Okay, so all of you, is anybody left? I think everybody answered, right?
I want to add up one more thing, Prabhuji,
Yeah.
which I forgot to tell you. That is, I always observed, supposing I present from 10 to 20, I read the first 10, which has got a link for my 10th to 20th verses per presentation. I always felt that. And it becomes more understandable, presentable. And before I start the work of this, I do Hare Krishna and then only I start.
Okay, very good. Yeah, invocation, I understand. So I request all of you that all of you are preparing the chapter or reading the chapter that you are presenting. I recommend that at least on a go forward basis, you all should at least have some understanding or some preparation of all the chapters in the unit, not just what you are presenting. I mean, the revision is not for the small section or the chapter that you are preparing. The revision is for the entire unit. And the two reasons for this is that if someone cannot present their respective presentation, then you should be able to do the presentation. Srila Prabhupada has said that you should be able to speak on Krishna Katha at moment's notice. So you should all be prepared. And the second reason is that it will revise all the chapters. Yes, I understand you all are listening to the revision, but you should at least say, have some understanding or even just read through the translations or your notes for the other chapters that you are not presenting, but at least you should have an understanding of the entire unit. So will it be possible for you all to prepare all chapters on a go forward basis, or is it too much to ask?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in that case, we need not put the chart, Prabhuji.
Which chart?
You can just ask one by one.
No, I don't want to do that. You prepare your presentation properly, but you are also preparing the other presentation or other chapters so that you understand. I mean, this is not an exam. I don't want to give you anxiety.
Not the exam, Prabhuji. How you ask us to read the, text, one by one, like myself, then the next, Shalini, like that. Anyway.
Yeah, I understand. What you're saying is that we assign who's going to do what presentation. You are saying, don't do it. Just come, everybody comes prepared, and I will tell you you are presenting this. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
It will be
Prabhuji,
anxiety for you.
One constraint I wish to express to you.
Yeah.
Generally, every one of us, we want to present the best possible.
Yeah.
One to reassure you that we are understanding what you are conveying to us. At the same time, we are committed to learning in the process and the revision. But our anxiety is that, for example, you have given 8 minutes for me last topic 17, 18, 19. I am keen to cover within that 18 minutes the critical points, bullet points.
Correct.
But that it is not possible for me. for the entire unit which you have suggested, because
Yeah,
in
I
an orderly
agree.
fashion I do.
I understand that the time assigned is not hard and fast. It's just a general idea that, okay, try to present in so and so time. And you are correct that you are presenting the main point. If you talk about everything, you'll be here forever. But if I follow what Mother Chandra Aunty was saying, that don't give the names assigned from before, and I will just ask randomly for somebody to present, it will be impossible for you to present within the time slot.
Correct.
So I don't want to do that. What I am recommending
But-
is, or what I am asking for you all is, that prepare
one
your
moment.
presentations properly within the assigned time or somewhere, and rest of the chapters you should at least have some idea, should be able to at least read the translation or your notes so that you understand the whole flow of the unit. Rest of you, is that too much to ask? Or
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
But Prabhuji,
Shalini, go ahead first.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So definitely, Prabhu, what you are saying is definitely doable, but may not be able to do at the way in which we do our individual presentation, but definitely to go through the translations and have an idea about the flow. I
Yeah.
appreciate.
Yeah, I'm not asking you all to do the presentation for all chapters like the presentation that you are doing for your individual section or chapter. What I'm saying is, have an idea that come to the revision class not by your only chapter or section reading or preparation, should be at least reading all the chapters. So how we did the previous unit 11, which was chapters 13 to 19, you should have read all the chapters or have a general idea of all the chapters. And for your respective presentation, yeah, you should have mastered and perfected that.
Prabhuji, I want to share with you what is my not perception, feeling, and I have experienced. When Shalini or Shivangi presents, I am listening right from number one, and it reinforces my recall value. I'm able to recall what all the classes you have given, the examples you have given, the analogy you have given, all those things, and their presentation itself, it is reviewed. But you are asking us to do further reinforcement, which I will do in future.
Yeah. So our idea is to remember Krishna. So this exercise, yes, you all are doing the presentations now perfectly. You all have perfected, I will tell you, your respective presentations. You talk about the essence, you talk about the essence generally within the allotted time, and you don't go very fast or you don't go very slow, and you don't talk about the individual verses or the sections. You all have perfected the presentations. All I'm saying is just to read or have a general idea from your notes for all the chapters that we are revising. So when the other devotee who is presenting the chapter, it will reinforce even more. Rest of you, is that too much to ask?
It's fine, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, it is rather a revision for us.
Okay. Those of you who have not answered.
Fine, Prabhu, with me also.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Shivangi.
It's a bit much for me, Prabhuji, but I'll try.
Yeah, try. I'm not going to sit here with a stick saying you didn't do it. No, try. Start somewhere and we keep growing from there. So right now you can start by the chapter that you are presenting. At least the first step you can do is do the previous chapter, maybe the after chapter also. And then you keep expanding a little. If somebody is doing the first chapter, then of course you will read the second chapter to see the follow through. If somebody is doing the middle chapter, then you have the chapters before and after. Somebody's doing the last chapters, then you have the chapters before. So try somewhere and then keep growing from there so that you come prepared for all chapters. Definitely, I don't want to give anxiety to any one of you, like randomly ask you to present. I'm not going to do that. Shivangi, you want
Prabhuji, pardon me for saying this.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing, but I'm telling you about my nature. All these years, even in the class, school, everything, when I sit here, I want to do the best. I want to do the best. I have been doing it in everything, even in profession. Now, what you are saying is, but in mentally, I feel I should do better. So I feel guilty if I don't do better. So in that process, I never will attempt what you are saying to recall.
Yeah, so our this scriptural study is not academic. Our goal is to remember Krishna. We
Yes.
can never. We have studied in the creation part, the chapters, that we are made out of ignorance. So this perfection or that I want to do the best is not possible. My Guru Maharaj and Guru Ma, they say that if you try to be perfect, then you are bound to fail, because we are made out of ignorance that perfection doesn't exist. So our goal is not to perfect. Our goal is to remember Krishna. Yeah, Shivangi, last point, you wanted to say something?
No, Prabhuji, I said it's okay. Thank you.
All right. Oh, okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody. So we'll continue from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 20 onwards. So Canto 3 is titled The Status Quo, and this starts from Chapter 20 is Unit number 12. Unit 12 is titled Kardama Muni and Devahuti, and Unit 12 covers chapters 20 to 24. And this unit is on the advent of Lord Kapila. So Lord Kapila is Krishna himself. Although Kapila appears in the next unit, unit number 13, but here is the base or the advent as to what leads to Lord Kapila's appearance. So the context is that in chapters 13 to 19, it was a diversion on Lord Varahadev's pastime, resulting from when Vidura asked a question about Swayambhuva Manu, that Swayambhuva Manu could not find earth. Then from Brahma's nostrils, Varahadev appeared because Brahmaji could not understand what to do. Brahmaji described the Vaikuntha Loka and the reason for all the bad omens. And Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha are going to take birth from Diti. And Brahmaji started to describe the story of Jai Vijay getting cursed by Kumaras because demigods saw all these bad omens and they inquired from Brahmaji. And Maitreya Muni also became ecstatic while describing Varahadev's pastime during Swayambhuva Manu's Manvantra. Hence, Maitreya Muni also explained Neela Varahadev's pastime, which happened during the immediate previous Chakshusa Manvantra, where only the fight of Varahadev and Hiranyaksha happened. This chapter 20 is a continuation of chapter 12 discussion on the secondary creation. In this chapter 20, there is nothing new. You will find repetition, a lot of repetition of what we have already discussed up to chapter 12. There are a few new points. In this chapter 20, Maitreya Muni also summarizes Visarga which is primary creation, in 4 verses. So it's just a brief summary. The creation topic described in earlier chapters is described again here in chapter 20 in order to relate to the Swayambhuva Manu's discussion. But there is very little new. Therefore, we should be able to cover this whole chapter today. So chapter 20 is titled Conversation between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. Is divided into 4 parts. Part 1, verses 1 to 8, Saunaka Rishi's questions. Part 2, verses 9 to 11, Vidura asked about Brahmaji's creation. Part 3, verses 12 to 15, Maitreya Muni summarized primary creation, Sarga. Part 4, verses 16 to 53, Brahmaji's secondary creation, Visarga. Everybody got the parts?
Yes, Prabhu.
So I want to clarify, while I was giving you the context, earlier I said that Maitreya Muni summarizes Visarga in 4 verses, but actually the correct statement is Maitreya Muni summarizes Sarga, primary creation, in 4 verses, which is part 3, verses 12 to 15. So in part 1, where it says Saunaka Rishi's questions, now Saunaka Rishi did not ask new question. He just asked that please repeat what Vidura asked and what answers Maitreya Muni gave, because Saunaka Rishi is convinced that whatever doubts we have, Vidura would have already asked and Maitreya Muni would have already clarified. Hence, Saunaka Rishi is not asking any new questions. So we'll read the first 4 verses translations together, are pretty straightforward. Is our dear Aditi able to read verses 1 to 4 translations?
She isn't in a position to read, Prabhu. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, you
Prabhu.
can read, Prabhu.
Text 1. Sri Shaunaka inquired, O Sutta Goswami, after the earth was again situated in its orbit, what did Swayambhu Manu do to show the path of liberation to persons who were to take birth later on? Text 2. Translation. Shaunaka Rishi inquired about Vidura, who was a great devotee and friend of Lord Krishna, and who gave up the company of his elder brother because the latter, along with his son, played tricks against the desires of the Lord. Text 3. Translation. Vidura was born from the body of Vedavyas and was not less than he. Thus, he accepted the lotus feet of Krishna wholeheartedly and was attached to his devotees. Text 4. Vidura was purified of all passion by wandering in sacred places, and at last he reached Haridwar. where he met the great sage who knew the science of spiritual life, and he inquired from him. Shaunaka Rishi therefore asked, what more did Vidura inquire from Maitreya? Hare Krishna.
So Vidura inquires, what did Swayambhu Manu do after Earth was placed in orbit? So let's read verse number 4 purport at a faster pace. Shalini, faster pace, read from paragraph number 2, which starts another significant point.
Hare Krishna. Another significant point is that one must go to sacred places not only to take a bath there, but to search out great sages like Maitreya and take instructions from him. If one does not do so, his traveling to places of pilgrimage is simply a waste of time. Narottama Das Thakura, a great acharya of the Vaishnava sect, has for the present forbidden us to go to such places of pilgrimage, because in this age the times having so changed, a sincere person may have a different impression on seeing the behavior of the present residents of the pilgrimage sites. He has recommended that instead of taking the trouble of travel to such places, one should concentrate his mind on Govinda, and that will help him. Of course, to concentrate one's mind on Govinda in any place is a path meant for those who are the most spiritually advanced. It is not for ordinary persons. Ordinary persons may still derive benefit from traveling to holy places like Prayaga, Mathura, Vrindavan, and Haridwar. Prabhu, I continue?
Yeah.
Okay. It is recommended that in this verse that one find a person who knows the science of God, or a Tattvavit. Tattvavit means one who knows the absolute truth. There are many pseudo-transcendentalists even at the places of pilgrimage. Such men are always present, and one has to be intelligent enough to find the actual person to be consulted. Then one's attempt to progress by traveling to different holy places will be successful. One has to be freed from all contamination, and at the same time he has to find a person who knows the science of Krishna. Krishna helps a sincere person, as stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Guru Krishna Prasade. By the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna, one attains the path of salvation, devotional service. If one sincerely searches for spiritual salvation, then Krishna, being situated in everyone's heart, gives him the intelligence to find a suitable spiritual master. By the grace of the spiritual master like Maitreya, one gets proper instruction and advances in his spiritual life. Hare Krishna.
So the purpose of going to holy place is to meet pure devotees, hear Krishna's pastimes. But if you are going just to take bath in the holy river, that will not have significant benefit. There may be a tiny benefit by taking bath in the holy river, but hearing Krishna Katha from pure devotees will have much more benefit. And Prabhupada explains that even at such holy places, there are so many pseudo-transcendentalists. Yeah, they may appear in a saffron dress, or may have tilak, or may look like a saintly with a long hair and beard and whatnot. But we have to be careful that we hear from bona fide sources only. So I know few devotees I have said that, oh, this is a link I got, he's from Vrindavan. And I told the devotee, permanently delete that link. Just because somebody is in Vrindavan, or just because somebody is having a saffron dress or a tilak or whatnot, that on itself is not the criteria. They may be Mayavad. And I said, no, hear from bona fide sources. Otherwise, you are drinking milk which is touched by a snake. It's a poisonous snake. It will contaminate your consciousness. And the last line, Prabhupada also explains that when one is sincere, then Krishna will guide to approach a bona fide spiritual master. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Shivangi, verse 5, translation and purport. Everybody read
Prabhuji,
it.
I realized visiting pilgrimage place, not only to take bath to wash off the sin, but it is equally important by this verse. Search for the master and hear the pastimes of Lord Krishna. That is what I realized, correct?
Yeah. We have to go to hear the pastime and do service. That's our intent.
Thank you.
Shivangi, verse 5 translation and purport. Everybody read a little faster pace.
Hare Krishna. Shanaka inquired about the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. There must have been many narrations of the spotless pastimes of the Lord. The hearing of such narrations is exactly like bathing in the water of the Ganges, for it can free one from all sinful reactions. Purport. The water of the Ganges is purified because it pours forth from the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is as good as the water of the Ganges because it is spoken from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. So it is with any topic on the pastimes of the Lord or the characteristics of his transcendental activities. The Lord is absolute. There is no difference between his words, his perspiration, or his pastimes. The water of the Ganges, the narrations of his pastimes, and the words spoken by him are all on the absolute platform, and thus taking shelter of any one of them is equally good. Srila Rupa Goswami has enunciated that anything in relationship with Krishna is on the transcendental platform. If we can dovetail all our activities in relationship with Krishna, then we do not stand on the material platform, but always on the spiritual platform. Hare Krishna.
So reading Bhagavad Gita is more important than Ganges because Bhagavad Gita came from Krishna's lotus mouth. So Sonaka Rishi is not asking any new questions, but he's saying that there must have been Krishna Katha discussion. So please repeat that same discussion. Mother Jija, verse 6, 7, and 8 translations.
Text 6. O Sutta Goswami, all good fortune to you. Please narrate the activities of the Lord, which are all magnanimous and worth glorifying. What sort of devotee can be satiated by hearing the nectarine pastimes of the Lord? Text 7. On being asked to speak by the great sages of Naima Saranya, the son of Roma Sana, Sutta Goswami, whose mind was absorbed in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, said, please hear what I shall now speak. Text 8. Sutta Goswami continued, Vidura, the descendant of Bharata, was delighted to hear the story of the Lord who, having assumed by his own divine potency the form of a boar, had enacted the sport of lifting the earth from the bottom of the ocean and indifferently killing the demon Hiranyaksha. Vidura then spoke to the sage as follows. Hare Krishna.
So Vidura is just continuing to inquire. And in the purport, Prabhupada explains that rereading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, newer and newer meanings get revealed. Sanjay has also said the same in chapter 18, I think it's 76, 77 verse. He's saying again and again. So he's remembering again and again. And devotees are never satiated from hearing Krishna Katha again and again. Now part 2 is verses 9 to 11, where title is Vidura asked about Brahmaji's creation. Dipanshu Prabhu, verse 9, 10, 11 translations.
Hare Krishna. Verse 9, Vidura said, since you know of matters inconceivable to us, tell me, O holy sage, what did Brahma do to create living beings after evolving the Prajapatis, the progenitors of living beings? Text 10. Vidura inquired, how did the Prajapatis, son of progenitors of living entities as Marichi and Swambhu Manu, create according to the instruction of Brahma, and how did they evolve this manifested universe? Text 11. Did they evolve the creation in conjunction with the respective wives, did they remain independent in their action, or did they all jointly produce it? Hare Krishna.
So Vidura is asking about Visarga, meaning secondary creation. So if you recall, chapter 12 was also about Visarga, and the discussion continues here because chapters 13 to 19 was a detour about Varadev's pastime. So Vidura is asking the question about Visarga just to maintain the continuity that Vidura asked what Brahmaji did to continue the Visarga, meaning continuity, secondary creation. In the purport, one of the purport, Prabhupada explains the word Agyat Margvit, meaning beyond our sense perception. Means that if we do not know something, then we should approach a bona fide spiritual master. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, repeat that beyond the sense perception. You said, what is that word? How did you say?
It's there in the purport. It's Agyat Margvit, means beyond our sense perception. That if we do not understand something, if we do not know something, then we should approach a bona fide spiritual master. And this, we have discussed this in our previous chapter discussion also, that the difference between demigods and demons is that devotees or demigods, they will approach an authority. Demons don't approach anybody.
Thank you.
Okay, now part 3 is verses 12 to 15, where Maitreya Muni summarize primary creation, Sarga. So Sarga or primary creation discussion from Canto 2, Chapter 5, as well as Canto 3, Chapter 5 is summarized in brief in these 4 verses here, just for the context and the continuity of discussion. So we already know all of this at great length, that Mahavishnu's glands agitated the Mahatattva, then false ego mixed with different modes, various elements are manifested, and various, not only elements, there are the other items also manifested. And all these individual elements and items were sitting in unmixed state. Then Garbhodakshai Vishnu entered the universe to activate the creation. So I just summarized, and this exactly is explained in these 4 verses here. Uncle, if you can please read 12 to 15 translations. Unmute.
Sorry, I didn't unmute. Hare Krishna. Maitreya said, when the equilibrium of the combination of the 3 modes of nature was agitated by the unseen activity of the living entity, by Mahavishnu, and by the 3 force of time, the total material elements were produced. Chapter verse 13. As impelled by the destiny of the jiva, the false ego, which is of 3 kinds, evolved from Mahatattva, in which the element of rajas predominates. From the ego, in turn, evolved many groups of 5 principles. Text 14. Separately unable to produce the material universe, they combined with the help of the energy of the Supreme Lord and were able to produce shining egg. Text 15. Forever, 1,000 years, the shining egg lay on the waters of the casual ocean in lifeless state. Then the Lord entered in Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. In verse number 12 purport, Prabhupada explains the word durvitakaryena, which means one cannot determine when the soul became conditioned. Hence, you have heard Srila Prabhupada say this in many lectures, that soul is conditioned since time immemorial. And Srila Prabhupada explains the analogy that when a house is on fire, there is no use to experiment what is the reason for the fire. Rather, you just get out of the fire to save yourself. Similarly, material world is that fire. Therefore, don't try to analyze the material world. Just focus on getting out of the material world. Questions, comments, realizations? Okay. Shivangi?
Prabhuji, wouldn't you want to know what caused the fire so you don't do it again?
Yeah, we have discussed this in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, where Krishna has explained that material world is too big for you. And he has explained with the analogy that a prisoner can end his own prison sentence by good behavior. But a prisoner individually cannot end the entire prison house. And that same point is being explained here, that material world is too huge for the tiny individual soul to figure it out. You just try to get out. No, I understand I have done something wrong. You just focus on the solution. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Nothing wrong in trying to know what caused the fire. Yes, we already know that we became envious of Krishna at some point of time and wanted to enjoy separate of Krishna. That essentially is the bottom line reason as to why we are in the material world. What more do you want to analyze? Therefore, you say, okay, now I know this as the cause of me coming to the material world because of my desire to enjoy. Now, what's the solution? And focus on the solution. Shivangi?
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Anybody remembers the verse, why we came to the material world from Bhagavad Gita? Third junction point verse. Purusha Prakati Stohi. Anybody memorized? It's not a key memorization verse, but pretty important verse as the seed verse for material existence. Anybody? So it's 1322. Anybody wants to recite from the book? Somebody. Many of you have memorized also.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I go ahead, Prabhu?
Go ahead, Sridhar Prabhu.
Purusha prakriti stohi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sad asad yoni janmasu.
Excellent. Right?
Hare
That
Krishna.
bhunte, that enjoying mentality is the seed of material existence. What more do you need to know? Yeah, now focus on the solution. Everybody on the same page?
Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
Now, part 4 is verses 16 to 53. I will populate the chart that I sent you all for these verses. Part 4 is Brahmaji's secondary creation, Visarga. Mother Chandra Aunty, verse 16 and 17 translations.
Text 16. From the navel of the personality of Godhead, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, sprouted a lotus flower effulgent like 1,000 blazing suns. This lotus flower is the reservoir of conditioned souls, and the first living entity who came out of the lotus flower was the omnipotent Brahma. Text 17. When that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is lying on the Garbhodaksha ocean, entered the heart of Brahma. Brahma brought his intelligence to bear, and with the intelligence invoked, he began to create the universe as it was before. Hare Krishna.
So our body is made out of gross elements largely, and we have a little bit of intelligence. Comparatively, Brahmaji's body is largely made out of intelligence. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that some jivas are so adamant that even when so many Brahmajis are coming and going in the various creation cycles, but the adamant jiva wants to continue to stay in the material world. Another point Prabhupada makes about scientists in the purport. Srila Prabhupada says that Lord gives talent and remembrance to the scientist, based on which the scientist can do all this research or create satellites and go to space and etc. things. But still, the scientist cannot overcome the laws of nature. Verse number 18 describes that Brahmaji creates 5 kinds of ignorance. We'll read the verse and the purport. I will briefly describe that the 5 kinds of ignorance are Tamishra, Andhatamishra, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha. I'll explain all of this. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a sequence of this ignorance given, which Srila Prabhupada explains the Srimad Bhagavatam sequence. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives another sequence of these 5 ignorance in terms of which started first. Irrespective of the sequence, the definitions of these don't change. So the 5 ignorance are Tamishra, means anger. Andhatamishra means considering death to be ultimate end due to ignorance. Tamas means not knowing about spirit soul is tamas. Material world is tamas. 99% of the souls are ignorant of the existence of soul. Moha means illusion of bodily attachment, family and nationality is why the whole world is in moha, that I am this body and anything in relation to this body is also mine, which is the I, me, mine concept. And Mahamoha means mad after material enjoyment. Chandran Prabhu, verse 18, translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 18. First of all, Brahma created from his shadow of coverings of ignorance of the conditional source. There are 5 in number and are called Tamishra. Anda, Tamishra, Tamas, Moha, and Mahamoha.
So I had explained all these terms to you, which are explained at great length in the purport. Now the purport is pretty heavy and little longer. Right now, in essence of time, I will skip reading this purport. I would request you all to please read this purport with close attention. But I briefly described all these 5 kinds of ignorance which are there directly in the purport. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives one word definition for each of these 5 kinds of ignorance, and his sequence is also different. The sequence doesn't matter. So tamas means ignorance. So these are the one word definition by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Tamas means ignorance. Moha means egoism. Mahamoha means attachment. Tamishra means hatred. And Andha Tamishra means absorption in material pleasure. Everybody with me? Questions, comments, realizations?
Would you please repeat on Tanisha? Prabhuji?
I'll repeat all 5 for Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's one word definition of these 5 kinds of ignorance. Tamas is ignorance. Moha is egoism. Mahamoha is attachment. Tamishra is hatred. And Andha Tamishra is absorption in material pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. So from verse number 19 onwards, we'll populate the chart that I sent you, and I'll explain briefly. So we have discussed in chapter 12 that Brahmaji is throwing off his own body. Say during Vak episode, his daughter, Brahmaji threw off his body. So throwing off the body means Brahmaji is not giving up the body. Rather, Brahmaji is giving up his mentality. So the chart that I gave you has 4 columns. The first is the verse. Then the next column is gave up mentality of or created from. So in some verses, it explains that Brahmaji gave up so-and-so mentality. Or in some verses, it explains that whatever is created got created from so and so point. And I'll explain it from the first verse onwards, and it will become clear. The third column is created being, meaning whatever Brahmaji gave up, what got produced from that. And the fourth column is possession accepted by this created being or the activities of the created being. Meaning, whatever Brahmaji gave up as his mentality, some beings get created, and those beings either accept something as their possession or their activities are described. So it's just some verses it explains gave up mentality in column 2 versus some explains created from. And for column 4, some verses explain what possession they take, and some verses explain about activities. So I'll explain the first one, and it will become clear, or you can ask questions if it is not clear. So in verse number 19, let's first read verse number 19, and then we will populate the chart and come back to reading it again. Shalini, if you want to read verse number 19 translation.
Hare Krishna. Out of disgust, Brahma threw off the body of ignorance, and taking this opportunity, yakshas and rakshasas sprang for possession of the body, which continued to exist in the form of night. Night is a source of hunger and thirst. Hare Krishna.
So you populate in the first column, you have verses 19 to 21. Under column 2, gave up mentality is ignorance or shadow. So that's what you're populating, ignorance, or in bracket shadow. Created beings is yakshasha and rakshasha. And the fourth column, possession accepted, is night, and into bracket is hunger and thirst. So let me explain how it flows. So in verse number 19, it explains that Brahmaji gave up ignorance. That's what you populated, gave up the mentality of ignorance, from which created beings are yakshasha and rakshasas. And they accepted night, and night is the source of hunger and thirst. Everybody on the same page? Everybody follows the chart? I got silence. I don't know. Silence.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Understood,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Okay. So Shalini, now go back to reading from 19, 20, and 21 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 20.
No,
Overpowered
read the whole from 19 onwards.
Okay. Text 19. Out of disgust, Brahma threw off the body of ignorance, and taking this opportunity, yakshas and rakshasas sprang for possession of the body, which continued to exist in the form of night. Night is a source of hunger and thirst. Text 20. Translation. Overpowered by hunger and thirst, they ran to devour Brahma from all sides and cried, "Spare him not, eat him up." Text 21. Translation. Brahma, the head of the demigods, full of anxiety, asked them, "Do not eat me, but protect me. You are born from me and have become my sons. Therefore, you are yakshas and rakshasas." Right.
So in one of the purport, Prabhupada explains that even today, some yakshasas and rakshasas are living in the material world, that they want to either kill their father, grandfather, and and they call it as a love feast. But we at ISKCON have Sunday love feast. Prabhupada makes a very good comparison. Okay, so verse number 22 is creation of demigods. Mother Chandra Aunty, 22 translation.
Text 22. He then created the chief demigods who were shining with the glory of God, goodness. He dropped off before them and effulgent from the daytime, and the demigods sportingly took possession of it.
So you're populating on your chart for verse number 22. Second column, created from, is goodness. Third column, created beings, is demigods. And fourth column, possession accepted, is day. So demigods are born in daytime and demons are born in nighttime. So verses 23 to 31 describe the creation of demons. And then 32 to 37, the conversation continues about demons. So let's first read 23 to 31 translations. Shivangi?
23. Lord Brahma then gave birth to the demons from his buttocks, and they were very fond of sex. Because they were too lustful, they approached him for copulation. The worshipful Brahma first laughed at their stupidity, but finding the shameless asuras close upon him, he grew indignant and ran in great haste out of fear. He approached the personality of Godhead, who bestows all boons and who dispels the agony of his devotees and of those who take shelter of his lotus feet. He manifests his innumerable transcendental forms for the satisfaction of his devotees. Lord Brahma, approaching the Lord, addressed him thus: My Lord, please protect me from these sinful demons who were created by me under your order. They are infuriated by an appetite for sex and have come to attack me. My Lord, you are the only one capable of ending the affliction of the distress and inflicting agony on those who never resort to your feet. The Lord, who can distinctly see the minds of others, perceived Brahma's distress and said to him, Cast off this impure body of yours. Thus commanded by the Lord, Brahmaji cast off his body. The body given up by Brahma took the form of the evening twilight, when the day and night meet, a time which kindles passion. The asuras, who are passionate by nature, dominated as they are by the element of Rajas, took it for a damsel whose lotus feet resounded with the tinkling of anklets, whose eyes were wide with intoxication, and whose hips were covered by fine cloth over which shone a girdle. Her breasts projected upward because of their clinging to each other, and they were too contiguous to admit any intervening space. She had a shapely nose and beautiful teeth, a lovely smile played upon her lips, and she cast a sportful glance at the asuras. Adorned with dark tresses, she hid herself, as it were, out of shyness. Upon seeing that girl, the asuras were all infatuated with an appetite for sex.
So in the column 23 to 31 and 32 to 37, column 2, column 2 gave up mentality. You are populating buttocks. Column 3, created beings, is demons. Column 4, possession accepted, is twilight, into bracket, lust and sex. In verse number 25 purport, Prabhupada explains that Lord is also called as Varadham. Varadham means bestower of mercy. That whichever form the devotee desires to worship the Lord, Lord appears in that particular form for the devotee to give pleasure to his devotee. Example, to give pleasure to Hanuman, Lord appeared as Lord Ram. And in verse number 26 purport, Prabhupada explains that a male expecting procreation with another male is actually demoniac. All the nonsense that is going on in the world right now, that is pure demoniac. And in one of the verses, we read about the word lotus feet. That lotus feet should be of the Lord. But the demons, they called woman's feet as lotus feet. Let's read Shalini, verse number 28 purport. Masterpiece.
Yes, Prabhu. The Lord is described here by the word Vivikadhyatma, Darshana. If anyone can completely perceive another's distress without doubt, it is the Lord himself. If someone is in distress and wants to get relief from his friend, sometimes it so happens that his friend does not appreciate the volume of distress he is suffering. But for the Supreme Lord, it is not difficult. The Supreme Lord as Paramatma is sitting within the heart of every living entity, and he directly perceives the exact cause of distress. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Sarvasya chaham hriddhi sanivishto. I am seated in everyone's heart, and because of me, one's remembrance and forgetfulness occur. Thus, whenever one fully surrenders unto the Supreme Lord, one finds that he is sitting within one's heart. He can give us direction how to get out of dangers and how to approach him in devotional service. The Lord, however, asked Brahma to give up his present body because it had created the demoniac principle. According to Sridhar Swami, Brahma's constant dropping of his body does not refer to actually giving up the body. Rather, he suggests that Brahma gave up a particular mentality. Mind is the subtle body of the living entity. We may sometimes be absorbed in some thought which is sinful. But if we give up the sinful thought, it may be said that we give up the body. Brahma's mind was not in correct order when he created the demons. It must have been full of passion because the entire creation was passionate. Therefore, such passionate sons were born. It follows that any father and mother should also be careful while begetting children. The mental condition of a child depends on the mental status of the parents at the time he is conceived. According to the Vedic system, therefore, the Garbhadhana Samskara, or the ceremony of giving birth to a child, is observed. Before begetting a child, one has to sanctify his perplexed mind. When the parents engage their minds in the lotus feet of the Lord, and such a state the child is born, naturally good devotee children come. When the society is full of such good population, there's no trouble from demonic mentalities. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada clearly explains that giving up the body means giving up the mentality. In verse number 31 purport, Prabhupada also explains the difference between demigod and demon, which I described, that devotees or demigods also, they will approach an authority for any questions, comments, when they have any difficult situation. And this discussion about the twilight, that this continues in verses 32 to 37, that demons describe the twilight as a beautiful girl. Dipanshu Prabhu, 32 to 37 translations.
Hare Krishna. 32. The demons praise her. Oh, what a beauty. What rare self-control. What a budding youth. In the midst of us all who are passionately longing for her, she is moving about like one absolutely freed from passion. Text 33. Indulging in various speculations about the evening twilight, which appeared to them endowed with the form of a young woman, the wicked-minded Asuras treated her with respect and fondly spoke to her as follows. Text 34. Who are you, O pretty girl? Whose wife or daughter are you? And what can be the object of your appearing before us? Why do you tantalize us, unfortunate as we are, with the priceless commodity of your beauty? Text 35. Whosoever you may be, O beautiful girl, we are fortunate in being able to see you. While playing with a ball, you have agitated the mind of all onlookers. Text 36. O beautiful woman, when you strike the bouncing ball against the ground with your hand again and again, your lotus feet do not stay in one place. Oppressed by the weight of your full-grown breast, your waist becomes fatigued and your clear vision grows dull, as it were. Pray braid your comely hairs. Text 37. The Asuras, clouded in their understanding, took the evening twilight to be a beautiful woman showing herself in her alluring form, and they seized her.
So the demons are describing the twilight time as a beautiful girl. There's no beautiful girl. They are just imagining, and they take the twilight time as a beautiful girl, and they are describing so many points about this. In verse number 34 purport, Prabhupada describes that demoniac will pay any price for the skin beauty. And they call themselves as karma yogis, not knowing the meaning of yoga. The yoga means to connect. These are not karma yogis. And in verse number 35 purport, Prabhupada makes a very strong statement about women in sports. He gives the example of tennis, that woman playing tennis in the purport. That woman in sports is for men to enjoy the subtle sex. And another point Prabhupada makes in the verse number 35 purport is that people want to be cheated. Hence, Krishna creates these bogus gurus. And the other point Prabhupada makes in the purport, the verse 35, that material condition, our material body, our material condition is our diseased condition. We cannot be happy in the diseased state. And if you want happiness, you will have to go to spiritual world or become liberated to be happy. Any questions, comments, realizations on a lot of volume of verses about demons? Okay. Verse number 38, 39 is creation of Gandharvas and Apsaras. Mother Jija, 38, 39 translations.
Text 38. With a laugh full of deep significance, the worshipful Brahma then evolved by his own loveliness, which seemed to enjoy itself by itself, the hosts of Gandharva and Apsaras. Text 39. After that, Brahma gave up the shining and beloved form of moonlight. Vishwavasu and other Gandharvas gladly took possession of it. Hare Krishna.
So on your chart for verses 38, 39, second column, created from, you are populating beauty. Third column, created beings, is Gandharvas and Apsaras. Fourth column, possession accepted, is moonlight. Verses 40 and 41 is creation of bhutas and pishakas. Chandran Prabhu, verse 40, 41 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 41.
40 and 41.
40. The glorious Brahma next evolved from his sloth the ghosts and friends. But he closed his eyes when he saw them stand naked with their hair scattered. Text 41. The ghosts and hobgoblins took possession of the body thrown off in the form of yawning by Brahma, the creator of the living entities. This is also known as the sleep which causes drooling. The hobgoblins and ghosts attack men who are impure, and their attack is spoken as insanity. Hare Krishna.
So on your chart for columns 40 and 41, sorry, row 40 and 41, second column for created from is laziness. Third column, created beings, is bhutas and pishakas. Fourth column, activity, is attack impure persons. So Prabhupada explains in the purport for 41 that how ghosts attack people. Prabhupada says that when somebody is fast sleeping and saliva is drooling, through this drooling saliva, ghosts enter the body. This drooling saliva is a very unclean state. Therefore, one should brush the teeth before sleep to reduce the drooling. Everybody with me? Okay. So verse 42, 43 is creation of sadhyas and pitras. So our dear Sridhar Prabhu had asked a question long time back whether we should perform Shraddha rituals. And the answer is given in verse number 43 purport. So let's read. Uncle, verse 42, 43 translation.
Hare Krishna. Verse 42. Recognizing himself to be full of desire and energy, the worshipful Brahma, the creator of the living entities, evolved from his own invisible form. From his navel, the hosts of Satyas and Pitas. Verse 43. The Pitas themselves took possession of the invisible body, the source of their existence. It is through the medium of this invisible body that those will well versed in the rituals offer oblations to the sadhyas and pitas in the form of their departed ancestor on the occasion of Shraddha. Hare Krishna.
So on your chart for column, sorry, in column 1 row for verses 42, 43, second column, you have 2 points. First is invisible form and second power. And in created beings also you have 2 points. First is pitras, second sadhya. Fourth column, activity is accept Shraddha offerings. Shivangi?
Abhijit, could you repeat the Which mentality he's giving up? Invisible form and power?
Yeah, for 42, 43, column number 2, gave up mentality or created from. The 2 points are, first is invisible form and second is power. So in verse number 43 purport, Srila Prabhupada explains about this Shraddha rituals, that simply by Krishna consciousness, all rituals are already performed. If I don't have full faith in Krishna consciousness, then I should perform Shraddha ceremonies. In Canto 7, Chapter 10, even the Lord advised Prahlad Maharaj to do Shraddha ceremony to set an example for others. Prahlad Maharaj is already elevated, but he's just trying to set an example. And similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well as Lord Ram, they do not need to do any Shraddha rituals, but they still did the Shraddha rituals to set an example for others. So Srila Prabhu, and I think Shalini might have also asked this question before. I do recall some discussion. I don't know in class or offline whether we should do Shraddha ritual. So verse 43 has a direct answer to you. You read the purport for verse 43 and what I just described. That if you have full faith in Krishna conscious, then you don't need to do Shraddha because Krishna consciousness takes care of all rituals. But if you don't have full faith, then do the Shraddha rituals. Everybody on the same page?
Prabhuji, you have made my day today. I have been always feeling guilty of not doing Shraddha because of lack of facility, not resource. But today, through you, by the mercy of Lord Krishna, I am clarified. Thank you.
Yeah, it's Krishna clarifying through Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, very good. Shalini?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Offline, I had connected with you, and from that time itself, being in Krishna consciousness, Prabhu, I did not believe in doing all these.
Okay, very good. So verse 44 is creation of Siddhas and Vidyadharas. Mother Chandra Aunty, verse 44 translation.
Text 44. Then Lord Brahma, by his ability to be hidden from vision, created the Siddhas and Vidyadharas and gave them that wonderful form of his known as the Andardhana.
Okay, so on your chart for verse 44, column 2, created from is Antardhana. Third column, created beings, is Siddhas and Vidyadharas. Fourth column, possession is invisible. Okay. 45, 46 is creation of Kinnaras and Kimpurusas. Mother Jija, 45, 46 translations.
Text 45. One day, Brahma, the creator of the living entities, beheld his own reflection in the water, and admiring himself, he evolved Kimpurushas as well as Kinnaras out of that reflection. Text 46. The Kimpurushas and Kinnaras took possession of that shadowy form left by Brahma. That is why they and their spouses sing his praises by recounting his exploits at every daybreak. Hare Krishna.
So on your chart for verse 45, 46, column 2 created from is reflection. Column 3, created beings, is Kim Purushas and Kinnaras. Column 4, activities, is they praise Brahmaji in the dawn. Okay, 47, 48 is creation of snakes. Shalini, 47, 48 translations.
Hare Krishna, text 47. Once Brahma laid down his body stretched at full length, he was very concerned that the work of creation had not proceeded apace, and in sullen mood he gave up that body too. Text 48. O dear Vidura, the hair that dropped from the body transformed into snakes, and even while the body crawled along with his hands and feet contracted, there sprang from it ferocious serpents and nagas with their hoods expanded. Hare Krishna.
So on your chart for verses 47, 48, on second column, created from, there are 3 points to write. First is from anger, and then second point is hair, and third is hands and legs. And for column 3, created beings, so from hair came snakes, and the next point in under created beings is from hands and legs came serpents and nagas. Column 4, activity is cruelty. Okay. 49 and 51 is creation of Manus and others. Uncle, 49 to 51 translations, please.
Hare Krishna. Verse 49. One day Brahma, the self-born, the first living creature, felt as if the object of his life has been accomplished. At that time, he evolved from his mind the Manus, who promote the welfare activities of the universe. Verse 50. The self-possessed creator gave them his own human form. On seeing the Manus, those who had been created earlier, the demigods, the Gandharvas, and so on, applauded Brahma, the Lord of the universe. Text 51. They prayed, O creator of the universe, we are glad what you have produced is well done. Since ritualistic acts have now been established soundly in the human form, we shall all share the sacrificial oblations. Hare Krishna.
So on your chart for verses 49 to 51, second column, created from his own form, into bracket, mind. Third column, created beings, is Manu. Fourth column, activities, is sacrificial actions will be established. Last two verses, 52 and 53, is about creation of sages. Shivangi?
52. Having equipped himself with austere penance, adoration, mental concentration, and absorption in devotion, accompanied by dispassion and having controlled his senses, Brahma, the self-born living creature, evolved great sages as his beloved sons. To each one of these sons, the unborn creator of the universe gave a part of his own body, which was characterized by deep meditation, mental concentration, supernatural power, austerity, adoration, and renunciation.
So on your chart for verses 52, 53, Second column, created from, is parts of own body. Third column, created beings, is great sages. And activities, there are 6 activities: samadhi, yoga, riddhi, tapa, vidya, virakti. Everybody with me?
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, just one realization or comment. This chart is very helpful, Prabhu, for us to understand clearly.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
So we are just past 9:30 a.m. here in Toronto time. Let me quickly give you homework. 4 questions, 4 points, not questions. Question number 1. Why has Narottama Das Thakur forbidden us to go to places of pilgrimage? Comes from verse number 4. Second, explain the difference between material and spiritual enjoyment. Comes from verse number 35. Third point is read the verses and the purports with the chart. All the purports have a lot of important points. I did not have time to go through all of them. So please read, and you can bring important points at the next class. Fourth point, read Canto 3, Chapter 21 for the next class. We won't cover the whole chapter, but you can read at least half, or time permits, read the full. Everybody on the same page?
Kindly repeat the third one.
You can please connect with Shalini. I'm short of time today.
Sure.
Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 20th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. Are we okay to stop here?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare
everyone.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
thank you.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.